I feared for my life in that moment, bro, because
Mhm.
that concussion that was nationally televised, me being on the highest stage of football and the NFL,
Right.
I thought I was going to be just like them.
Mm.
I thought that there was going to become a point in my life where my brain did something that caused me to kill myself.
Mm.
You feel me? What's going on, everybody? I'm Dom,
A big A.
and welcome to another episode of the Players in Transition podcast, man. Bro, we got something to talk about today.
Heavy.
This one is
Heavy.
a very, very, very heavy and touching point in our lives, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why you just see the two of us. Um, we created this podcast literally to be mentors and kind of give advice. You know what I'm saying? We wanted to create this platform so that we can help people and help athletes with their life in general, not just with them transitioning out of sports, but how to help them while they're still playing. You know what I'm saying? That'll
Mm-hmm.
ultimately help them once the game is over, right? And so when you think about how we start our show, we started off with a quote, something that resonates with our topic. And the quote is from Jada Pinkett Smith today, and she says, "Excuse me, don't take your health for granted. Don't take your body for granted. Do something today that communicates to your body that you desire to care for it. Tomorrow is not promised." So before before I continue to speak on my experience, I wanted to get your take, bro, because you were an offensive lineman, so you're banging heads all day long. You play offensive lineman and defensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
So
Headbangers.
I wanted to ask you this question. Um, Knowing what you know about the sport now and knowing what you know about concussions and things like that, um, if you could go back, would you still play football?
Yeah. Unfortunately, and it's sick.
Right.
But I would, but I wouldn't play offensive line. Like I would be more boisterous about it. Or at least if I did, I wouldn't have played both sides. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have went both ways for so long. Even as a coach, I understand why it becomes a numbers thing and you want to win. But and as a player, you want to create, especially before you get your college scholarship, you want to create as many opportunities for yourself to be seen. However, in that, not only do you tear your body down, but you're amplifying the amount of collisions that you take. And while you want to win and you want that opportunity, like just like anything else, if you minimize the number of chances that you do it, you minimize the chances of something happening. Now, yes, this is all theoretical, and I'm not all knowing, I'm not omnipotent, but I don't. What's to say that had I just focused on defense, I wouldn't have had all those. I definitely had a couple concussions that weren't documented, but definitely a few that weren't.
Mm-hmm.
You got a linebacker that's about 6'2", 250, running at you full speed, 6, 7 yards on a blitz, and your job is to stop him.
Right.
And like you learn in science, like just look at my hand, like my hand goes back, and I meant to hold it. Like that's a lot.
And the
You
crazy
know
thing
what I
is,
mean?
yeah, you say you had to stop it, and so I
Yeah,
think about my position as well. It's like as a running back, I'm running and he's running. It's like that. You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yours is worse because you got velocity, especially with
I'm,
and you want someone fast.
I'm much smaller. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So based off of your experience, you're saying that you will go back, you will still play, but you would do things different, and you'll take
Yeah.
a different approach to the game.
Yeah.
Um,
Would you?
yeah, me personally,
Uh huh.
yeah, I would still play because it taught me a lot about life.
Uh huh.
Football is really a game of life, um, and it taught me strength that I didn't know that I had.
Right.
That makes sense.
No,
You
definitely.
know what I mean? Um,
You could
and
dig deep down sometimes for some of
yeah,
the
so
things.
football really taught me strength that I didn't know I had, and it
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to push past certain limits. You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to push past those barriers of feeling, you know, a inferior. It taught me how to
Mm-hmm.
compete, and it taught me how to listen to my body and do certain things.
Right.
So I definitely play, but I'd be a lot more cautious with how I use my head in the game. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know
Right.
any better. So a lot of times I was going in head first, you know
Right.
what I mean? Without
Yeah.
knowing that, yo, this could damage your brain.
Crush it.
No one told us that.
Exactly. Well,
We thinking,
they did, but they minimized it. Like it's almost like in the same breath of telling you take care of yourself, watch your head. It's you better make that play. You saw Cam Newton not go for the ball in the Super Bowl, and they crucified that man.
right.
It's
But
a business decision.
yeah,
Like
yeah, right. So what you said, I agree, but they told us to an extent. They didn't
right.
tell us like, yo, this could cause concussions and can give you brain damage
Yeah.
later on
No,
in
you're
life.
right. They didn't.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Brain damage? I didn't know that until I got to college. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
well,
Yeah. Yeah. I get you. You're right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
After you done played 4, 5, 6 years.
yeah, it's like now you tell me. But I'm glad that it's out there now for the generations behind us to
Mm-hmm.
know and be more aware of how dangerous this sport can be for your future, right?
Right.
So thinking about the last question, and like I said, knowing what we know about the game now, if you were a parent, you know what I'm saying? Let's speak to the parents right now. If you were
Mm-hmm.
a parent, would you let your son play football?
Yes, I would, but at a later age.
Right.
There's brain development, right? And we have these different age benchmarks for different things in our country. Time they can drink, time you can drive, time that you're an adult, and then 25 where it's supposed to be fully formed. I would tell them to do it a little later on in their development. I wouldn't have. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we've all chuckled, we've all enjoyed watching that little 8, 9 year old just go. The one that's really with it, go pummel the kid that's just scared. But it's like, what are we getting out of that? You know what I'm saying? Like that becomes a traumatizing experience and just something that we can't really monetize or we can't really, for lack of better words right now, conceptualize what's really going on in the moment. That little kid that could have halted his development.
He's just having fun. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Yeah.
nobody's telling him the severity of it. And he probably wouldn't even know the severity of it.
You told him.
You know what
Exactly.
I'm saying? He just see what he sees that's glorified on media and in television, and he just
Right.
going out and trying to mimic it. Emulate
Exactly.
what they're doing.
Right.
So, if I was to answer that question, I would say yes, and I would answer it the same way you said it at
Hmm.
a later date. You know what I'm saying? Once he's, much developed,
Right. But
older.
to give them something tangible that they can actually chew on, because some people give advice or they give what they would do. Again, I'm not perfect. I only got kids, right?
Right.
But I do coach and I have friends. But a lot of people don't give suggestions or give what they could do. So one thing you could do for me, my parents got me, man. Well, I've already said how good my parents were. They had me in soccer, basketball, baseball, slim. I was even doing tap dance at one point. And everybody know me. What I had, feet. Why? Because I had so many other things that would just, it was like, watch my feet, watch my feet. So at that point, my footwork was crazy when I got on the field.
Right. Yeah. So that's great advice to parents. It's like, you got a blank canvas with your kid.
Mm-hmm.
Let them, or not even let them, push them into different avenues so that they can explore what they may have interest in. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, it was the same. I was playing baseball, basketball, football, track,
Mm-hmm.
doing so much acting because my parents pushed me into those realms. And it's like,
Right.
I love this stuff. I would have never known if my parents hadn't pushed me. Now,
Exactly.
initially, here's a funny story. Initially, I loved playing football with my friends, but when it came to organized football, I didn't want to play.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? My first interaction with pads on, I got rocked. So it was like, I don't want to play this game. I don't want to get hit like that no more. But it's like,
right.
nah, my dad said, no, no, keep going. You know what I'm saying? Keep going and tell me later. once the
Right.
season's over, because he's like, you start something, you're gonna finish it. That's my
Mm-hmm.
parents' thing. You start it, you gotta finish it. All right. So that's why now, if I'm gonna start anything, I'm gonna make sure I do my research
For sure.
extensively before I do it, because in my mind, it's like if I'm gonna start it, I gotta finish it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
man, my first experience playing organized football
Mm-hmm.
was deadly. I wanted to quit. I did not want to go back to play football ever again. I cried. I had snot bubbles. I didn't want to play football. That stuff hurt. But again, my dad, and my mom keeping me in the sport helped me find my identity. And I didn't, growing up, I thought my identity was football, but my
Right.
identity was leadership. What
Mm-hmm.
what was brought out of me throughout my career of playing sports was leadership,
Yes.
was talking to people, how I communicated with people, how I loved
Yes.
helping people. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And then football
Mm-hmm.
is such a team-oriented sport, and that's why I gravitated to that sport the most, is because it allowed me to help people and use my gift. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Right.
then, to think about me playing in the NFL, I stopped using that gift, and what happened? I
Right.
different. Now
Right.
we're here using that gift on this platform. So it's
That's the
crazy
thing. It's all
how
about learning.
life goes full circle, right?
It really does. It really does, man. Like life's beautiful. I love life. In case
Right.
anyone knows that.
So you know, we we brought this topic up because of Vincent Jackson, right? So let's
Mm,
let's let's get to
good transition.
yeah, let's get
Hey, woo!
um I'm gonna do my best to keep my composure, because it'll force me to think about what I went through and what I experienced.
Already.
So,
Same. Same.
yeah, right, you expressed that you had concussions, right?
Multiple. Two big ones.
Documented, undocumented, same
Yeah.
here for me. Um, and then knowing what we knowing about Junior Seau and the Vincent Jackson, like these are high profile players, um, who essentially killed themselves. We don't know what happened with Vincent Jackson, truthfully, but we know what happened with Junior Seau.
Right.
So, like I said, knowing that you had concussions,
Mm-hmm.
like, does that make you afraid of your future? Like, does that make you fear becoming older and then developing those same symptoms that these guys had that caused them to kill themselves?
It doesn't make me. It doesn't fear me, but it definitely makes me more mindful. Definitely makes me pay attention to some of the behaviors I display now that are reflected in it. And it's hard for someone to understand it. Really, if you didn't play football, just being honest, because even some coaches and family members, they'll see certain behaviors. And while, yes, many who know me know I'm a little different, also some things is like, why did he do that? And
Mm,
it's like, it's because I have something that I look completely normal, but I can tell you times in my life where I was living and I can't remember stuff that happened at all. And not like it's standard, like, oh, time has passed. I mean, in that moment, I told people, what happened? Like, what just happened? How am I standing here? Like, why, how did we get here?
that's
Type situations. So it's hard to tell somebody that and then you matriculate, you go on to do things that I have and let people know it's like, yo, like, I'm actively doing things to
right,
make sure I'm a certain way.
right.
You know
So,
what I mean?
that's interesting that you said that you're actively doing things to to better yourself.
Right.
I'll talk about my experience with concussions. Um,
Mm-hmm.
throughout high school, I definitely have had them. Now that I know what they are, I played with the New York Jets. I don't even think you've seen this game in the preseason. I made a nice little cutback. I'm going up and I shook one guy and I'm stumbling, and then the safety came over, hit me right in the temple. You
Mm-hmm.
I felt fine. I felt fine. I'm
Right.
like, ooh. I mean, that was a decent hit. It wasn't like I got rocked.
Right.
Straight to the temple. So I in in that moment, I was like, I feel, I'm good. Um, but I felt something in my jaw, and I was like, dang, I hope my jaw ain't broken. So I
Right.
got up and I bit down on my mouthpiece and closed my eyes, and I was like, dang, this hurt. So I was like, let me come out real quick and make sure I ain't do nothing. 'Cause
Right.
I don't felt that before where I chipped my tooth or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm jogging off. I'm jogging off the field, and 5 yards from the sideline, I just fell flat on my face. I went completely blank. Completely blank. Scariest moment in my life because I don't remember any of it.
Right.
From me, once I start jogging, I bit down on my mouthpiece and I close my eyes. I don't remember me how I fell or what made me fall, but I went completely black and woke straight up. And I got up and was like, yo, I just fell on national television. National television.
I completely forgot about that. You right. It's a preseason game.
it's
It's
on
a
TV.
preseason game
I
on
got
TV.
family
Exactly.
members watching. I
Yeah.
got friends watching. I got national television. I'm jogging off. Like, let me just come out one play. I'm gonna go back in.
Right.
I completely go black. And then from there, I'm like, I can't go out like this.
Right.
I literally cried for 3 weeks straight and said, God, I know you didn't bring me this far to leave me like this.
Right.
I can't go out of the game like this.
Mm-mm.
So that happened in 2016. From 2016 until 2020, January 21 is when that's when I really let it go. So from 2016, it was like August 2016, all the way to January 2021. That's how
Oh,
long.
you mean January 21 this year?
Yes. That's how long it took for me to let it go. I couldn't move on to anything else because that moment took my soul. You know what I'm saying? My identity was so infused in the football. And for me to go out with a concussion, I started to think about everything. I started to think about, I don't even have kids yet. I'm not married yet. I haven't experienced life yet. I've been playing football my whole life. I want to do other things. So I did some praying, bro. I did some crying. I did cleansing. And big shout out to my brother, man. I love this dude. Like, we share the same blood. Ben Tate. All right, he played running back for the Houston Texans, the Browns. He came to Minnesota for a little bit. This man literally took me in at my lowest point where I wanted to give up. He brought me in and introduced me to another side of God. You know what I mean? Another side of the religion, because I wasn't really religious. I went to church, and I'm still not really like religious, but I do have my moments of prayer and talking to the higher power. But man, Ben literally invited me into his home when he didn't have to. We barely knew each other. We knew each other for like a year. He came to the Vikings, played with us for a little bit, and I was living in Houston, so I trained
He's
with
from
him.
Maryland, right? Snow Hill?
Yeah, he's from
Maryland. He's at Maryland all-time leading rusher for a little bit. Yeah, I knew that. I figured the name. I figured that was him. Auburn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he was like, you can live with me, bro. I just, broken up with my ex-fiance, and all I had was my truck and my clothes. And he was like, bro, you can live with me, bro. And those were the moments where I was dealing with the concussion stuff. I was drinking every night. I was buying like cheap liquor just to have something take my mind. You know what I'm saying? The cheap. And bro, I remember, he would often leave, and I would be at the house by myself. And I think this was the moments where I needed to really spend time with God, the universe, and just get out what was stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, let it out.
Right.
I wasn't a big crier. So man, I mean, I'm talking, I probably cried like 3 weeks straight, bro. Every day I cried. And it was like, it's just, is my life over? You know what
Right.
I mean? And I found myself up under his pool table. I'm shooting pool regular. I got the TV going on, you know, I just invited a girl over.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, she gonna pick me up. We're gonna go eat. And it was just like a moment where I shot the, you know, I was shooting pool. And in that moment, I just broke down. Broke down, bro. When I'm talking about boo hoo broke down, I'm talking about boo hoo broke down. I don't even know where it came from.
Oh, it's just out of nowhere. You don't even know
Just
where.
out of nowhere because I wasn't even thinking about it.
Right.
It was like in it was anxiety. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was so I was depressed so bad, and
Yeah.
and here's my apology to a lot of people in my life at that moment. Um, I didn't know what was going on in my head, yo. Like
Right.
it was so foggy when I woke up, and my vision would be. I would get the deepest headaches anytime I got in the light. You know, so I was
Right.
like, yo, I don't know if it's the concussion or is it just the light. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I started doing research, and it was basically the concussion.
The light sensitivity. Yeah.
But the only time that it wouldn't affect me was when I was drunk or I would drink. If I drank,
Really.
if I drank, I didn't have
Uh-huh.
the fogginess, and I didn't have the headaches.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the light sensitivity, and I didn't think about the You know, I wasn't depressed when I drunk.
Right. And that's probably why when they look at a lot of these issues, they say alcoholism, when really it might be something else.
Exactly, and I feared for my life in that moment, bro, because
Mm-hmm.
that concussion that was nationally televised, me being on the highest stage of football and the NFL,
Right.
I thought I was going to be just like them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that there was going to become a point in my life where my brain did something that caused me to kill myself. You feel me? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like this isn't the end of my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
This isn't how I envisioned it, bro. This isn't how the story should end.
Right.
How I started to think, well, how can I heal my brain? You can
Mm-hmm.
heal the muscles in the body, you know, because I've torn my ACL on both knees. So I'm
Right.
like, yo, you can heal from muscle strains and tissue. You can heal the muscle, and the brain is a
Right.
muscle.
It's a
So I
big
was
one.
like,
No
there
small
has
muscle.
to be there has to be a way to heal my brain.
Right.
Um, so I started to do so much research and so many different reading so many different articles on health, brain health. And the key component that I kept seeing was diet.
Yeah.
What you feed yourself is crucial. And all I was feeding myself 24/7, well, I'm not 24/7, but every day was alcohol. And that's
Mm.
one of the worst things that you can do when you have any type of brain trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Alcohol does something to the brain that we don't know. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? There's theories out there, but alcohol does something to the brain that damages it.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to think like, okay, well, what can I do to repair it? And I literally went on like a fast of just eating fruits and vegetables
Mm-hmm.
for a long period of time, and that fogginess went away.
Yeah.
That cloudiness, I'm looking at a light right now, and I feel perfectly fine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
like, I want to express the fact that you need the nutrition in football while you're
Right.
playing to keep yourself healthy and you know what I'm saying, to be who you are and stay fit. But you need it more so than anything once it's over, because
Right.
your body needs to repair, it needs to recover. And the three major components for that is to sleep better,
Mm-hmm.
to eat better, and to
Right.
just literally affirm that everything's going to be okay and speak.
Yes.
You know what I'm
The
saying?
mind is powerful. Yes.
Yes, bro. Put yourself in a
Yes.
room, a light room. I was in dark rooms, throughout that whole time, you know, I hated turning the light on. You know, I hated having the blinds open. And
Right.
my wife, you know, who was, you know, she was my girlfriend at the time when we first started talking. She was like, "You always in a dark room." Like she said something like, "My aunt said if you're in a dark place, get in a bright room," or you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it helped me, bro. It helped me
Yes.
significantly, and I no longer have fear of those CTE moments,
Right.
or
That's good.
that moment where I thought, you know, my brain is going to do it like a little switch, and I'm going to want to kill myself. I no
Right.
longer have that fear anymore, and I really want to tap into the dieting part and what can really help us post football or post any type of sport, you know, to keep us healthy. You know what I mean? We don't damage
No,
our body for
definitely.
so long, and
No, definitely.
that's key for this podcast is to really help people mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever, man.
Right. And
So
everything we spit, it comes from the heart. Like
yeah,
it's either something we've done personally or something that we researched and spoken on the topic. But we're not here from any malice for anybody. We just genuinely want to help others because that's one thing we talked about, and I think that's one of the best things about it. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the bigger things too, to be able to talk to people about it. I know me and you've had conversations recently, and you've had conversations with others, and I think that's also helped you get to that point of where you're able to do it. And I definitely, I mean, I appreciate you sharing, bro, because that's a real deep story. You know what I'm saying? Because we all take into account, but I'm sure that morning, Vincent Jackson's folks, even though they probably knew he had some issues, they never thought that was going to happen that day. You know what I mean? So it's like you never really know who's going to be here, what they're going through. You
right,
feel what I'm saying? So just being there for that person, being there for that, even if you don't understand it, just taking the time and having a level of understanding. I'm not saying coddle the person necessarily, but take a moment to sit back. And we really do this with all issues, but definitely something with this type of thing. Why is this person doing this?
right,
You see what I'm saying? Take your biases out of it to really understand and just take care of yourself.
right.
Both ways. Take care of yourself.
Big time. Well, man, bro, we're gonna end it on that. You know, um, if this message helped you, please make sure you go like, leave a comment, help us help other athletes, and if that's you, help us help you. Um, Subscribe to our channel as we're going to continue to expand and give you guys the tools to really further yourselves in your life after sports. That's another episode of Players in Transition.
Hold on.
And,
We ain't get to tell them how they get to reach out.
oh,
They gotta reach out to us too. We would love the comments. We love you to subscribe. But I got
yeah,
Instagram. We got
where
Players in Transition page on Instagram.
right. What we always do is we leave, you know, our handles for our, you know, our Instagram in the description. But we can drop that right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, Eddie, because some people don't like to read.
right.
Just gonna be honest. Some people don't like to read. They just gonna listen to this right here. So I'm gonna make sure I put it in your ear. It's at Eddie Shep. At EDDIESHEPPEPP.
Okay, so that's two H's and two P's.
Two H's, two P's.
Early. Mine is pretty simple and easy. You can find me over and on IG at DW Inspires. And that's with an S at the end. Again, that's DW Inspires on Instagram. Go check that out. Also, we just created a Players in Transition page.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it's called, Players in Transition. But we're going to just giving you guys nothing but knowledge, nothing but advice, nothing but good tools to use to further your life. And this can go for anybody, man. We really using our resources, pulling them in and giving you guys everything that we know. Giving you guys a game, man. That's the game plan.
Thank you. Appreciate you, player.
It is. I'm Dom.
I'm Ed.
That's another episode of Players in Transition. Peace.